Hawkins, second by Sixberry. Any other discussions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we're going to start with the CAPP program overview.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'm Bree Hawkins, and this is Hannah Hermanson, and we are excited to be presenting on the CAP grant our music team has been working on this year. As we celebrate Music in Our Schools Month, we are so thankful for the opportunity to present and to have some of our students sing for you tonight. Let's dive in. You can go to the next slide. Our CAP team is made up of our 8 music teachers from across all our buildings. Minda provides us with administrative representation, while Hannah and I serve as co-chairs. Together, we collaborate with Perpich, receive specialized training, and facilitate the strategic process we are presenting today.
Alrighty, to provide some context on our current work, CAP stands for the Comprehensive Arts Planning Program. It is a statewide initiative that provides assistance to districts as they plan and implement comprehensive school arts programs. CAP is based on the core belief that the arts are an essential part of our basic education. This program is made possible by the Minnesota State Legislature through an appropriation to the Perpich Center for Arts Education. The Perpich Center for Arts Education is a statewide partner with the Minnesota Department of Education that provides and manages the standards in the arts and other stakeholders. CAP is formally governed by Minnesota statutes Sections 129C.25 and 129C.26, ensuring that our art standards are managed alongside professional stakeholders. Next slide.
So we applied for the CAP program to reflect our commitment to providing an excellent music education for all Big Lake students. Through this partnership with the Perpich Center for the Arts, we are hoping to provide targeted professional development for our music team, 75% of which have joined our district within the last 4 years. Our goal is to foster collaboration K through 12 to ensure a continuous musical experience for our students.
Next slide. All right, we are so proud to share that Big Lake Schools is one of only 9 districts selected from across the entire state of Minnesota to participate in this program. We applied to the program in January of 2025 and received confirmation of our selection later that spring. This is a significant distinction for our district and a testament to our commitment to arts excellence. Next slide.
The strategic plan for CAP follows a structured, multi-year trajectory designed to ensure long-term sustainability and growth. During the initial planning phase this year, our team has conducted a comprehensive needs assessment to design a district-wide 3-year arts education plan for formal adoption. 3-year arts education plan for formal adoption by the district administration and the school board. Implementation will begin in year 1 next year, followed by the execution of the remaining goals through years 2 and 3. Throughout all the stages of this cycle, the team will consistently evaluate progress to ensure the plan effectively meets the evolving needs of our students.
All right, our ultimate goal is to build a truly comprehensive music education. And these 7 specific branches here, which are a little bit hard to read on the screen, so I'm going to read them to you, make up a comprehensive music education. So, standards-based curriculum, instruction, and assessment is one of them. Equity, diversity, access, and inclusion is another. Professional development for our staff. Arts education, facilities, equipment, and materials. Partnerships with artists, arts organizations, and after-school programming. Funding and advocacy. And last, our local CAP committee, district arts planning, and policies. So, to begin the work this school year, our co-chairs attended 2 professional development sessions at the Perpich Center to learn the best practices for designing a strategic plan. Here in Big Lake, our music team has committed to 8 strategic meetings. Working alongside our co-chairs and Perpich representatives, we are using this time to build a solid foundation for our future programming. Now, during these sessions, we conducted a thorough needs assessment of our district-wide music programming, and this allowed us to recognize our existing strengths while also identifying the specific areas where we can grow to better serve our students. We have spent this school year drafting a strategic plan that encompasses these 7 core branches of building a comprehensive music education here in Big Lake. And our goal is to finalize a strategic plan by the end of this school year. And this vision ensures that our music education program remains a permanent fixture of our district's vision, aligning our program with the high standards of high expectations, exceptional results. And we look forward to returning soon in April to share the specific outline of this strategic plan with all of you. Next slide. Are there any questions that you have for us? Yes, we'll be back
It's
April.
a 2-part series.
2 parts.
2 parts.
Yes.
Perfect.
This is part 1.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, next slide.
And thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to open forum. I'm going to read the open forum guidelines. The speaker must state their name. Each speaker will be provided 3 minutes. No action can be taken unless the matter addressed is formally on the agenda. The speaker will not make negative comments regarding any employee of the district. The board chair can end the open forum at any time. Please note that data privacy laws do not allow for any matter concerning individual employees or students to be discussed. Mike Nagorski.
Okay. My name is Mike Nagorski. I am reading this on behalf of Karen Nelson, retired Big Lake teacher, 37 years in the district, 33 years of service. Members of the board of Big Lake Public Schools, it is a privilege to speak to you today on behalf of the outstanding teacher friends that I have at Big Lake Public Schools. Teachers in our Big Lake School District do not just meet expectations, they redefine them. They work tirelessly because their hearts are truly intertwined with the lives of the students, your children and grandchildren. To our incredible Big Lake teachers, students are not simply a name on a class list. The learners are individuals whose innermost needs and hardships are known and nurtured. Teachers not only foster academic success, but also emotional growth. By meeting each student where they are, Big Lake teachers ensure every child is seen, heard, and valued. Teachers are truly the heartbeat of Big Lake schools. They are the pulse that reach out to our families and our community as they teach, mentor, and counsel our learners. The high quality education in our district is directly tied to the passion and commitment of our staff, and yet many are feeling undervalued and underappreciated. Why is teacher morale so low? Look at how we treat those at the finish line, teachers with longevity. Last spring, after teaching 33 years at the Big Lake schools, I retired without so much as a handshake from the Superintendent Trubenbach or Miss Anderson. In fact, Superintendent Trubenbach celebrated his own 5-year milestone while the retirees were not even called forward. I felt like 3 decades of service were invisible and clearly not valued. I was deeply hurt. And I know I'm not the only one feeling that. Many educators in the district are wondering if their years of commitment are truly seen and valued. It is disappointing to see that the administration prioritized their own contract approvals while failing to show basic respect to the educators we have dedicated their lives in the district. If the board is quick to approve administration contracts, they should be just as quick to show value, tangible value in the teachers in the trenches. Everyone needs to be valued equally. Yet, this is obviously an illusion. Mr. Trumanbach's 5 years of service equals longevity in the district. The board's recent approval of longevity increased the superintendent's contract after 5 years of service was a slap in the face to our dedicated teaching staff who have been here 20 or even 30 years. If 5 years in the district's new gold standard for longevity, then the Board of Education must immediately extend the same financial recognition to the many teachers in the Big Lake that have equal or more years of longevity. Now it's time to start prioritizing and valuing the educators who have given years to teaching their careers in the district. To maintain the excellence Big Lake is known for, it is critical that our district administration and board truly hear and value the staff. Administration needs not only to listen to teacher concerns, but also prioritize them with competitive compensation. Investing in our teachers is investing in our children.
Your 3 minutes are up.
I got 10 seconds.
Okay,
Last 2 sentences.
okay.
Please.
Yep.
In the strategic plan of 2022 to 2027, specifically Goal 6 aims to create a culture where all staff feel universally supported. How will you show your value to our Big Lake teachers to achieve that goal? We value our Big Lake teachers. Thank you, Karen Nelson.
Ross?
Good evening, members of the board and superintendent. My name is Ross Priest, and my family and I have proudly called Big Lake home for 14 years. We've been homeowners and taxpayers for the past 12 of those years. This community and this school district has shaped our family. Our oldest son graduated from Big Lake last year. Our middle son will graduate this May, and our daughter will be a freshman next year. Most importantly, my wife has spent the last 13 years as an elementary teacher in this district. So I'm not speaking as an outsider. I'm speaking as a parent, a spouse, and a community member who sees firsthand what makes Big Lake special. What stands out most is that connection, the relationships between teachers and students and staff and families. Those are built through trust, consistency, and commitment. I've watched Big Lake teachers show up for our kids every day, not just to educate them, but to support them and prepare them for what's next. That doesn't happen by accident. Strong schools depend on people who feel valued and supported. And that's why I'm here tonight. This is no longer just about a fair contract. Our teachers have been working without one since July 1st. They've continued to show up with professionalism despite the uncertainty. And when the last offer came forward, it definitely fell short. Not because of expectations are too high, but because it didn't reflect the value it didn't reflect their value, and it keeps Big Lake competitive with neighboring districts. And now negotiations have stopped. That should concern all of us here. I know that's why the teachers are here. It should concern you guys. Because we continue to fall behind. We risk losing the educators who make the district strong. I see their commitment every day. It's in my home and in my kids' lives. So they deserve more than being at the bottom of the scale. They deserve a contract that reflects their impact and brings Big Lake in line with surrounding districts. So I'm asking you, respectfully but directly, get back to the table, finish the work, and do it in a way that reflects the pride we all have in this community and this school district and these teachers. Because Big Lake is better than that. So, thank you.
Amanda?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hello, everyone. My name's Emmanuel. I'm not here other than to introduce Vanessa Davenport for House Senate 27 Alpha. She sent me over to kind of let you know her background. She's originally from Tennessee, raised by a single parent family. She put herself through college, joined the military, found value in community. We moved here to Minnesota after our Navy careers to start and join a new community. She's trying to still be part of that community, so we've joined the Big Lake Lions. We've joined the Beyond the Yellow Ribbon, and we're trying to get involved with you all. Next Tuesday, the 23rd at 6:30, we're gonna get a little meet together in Lupulin to kind of hear your concerns of the community of the area and see how we can help through her campaign and afterwards to see how we can help in the community, if that makes any sense. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Rob Young?
Thank you for hearing me. My name is Rob Young. I know a lot of you in this room, and what I'm here to bring up honestly seems pretty elementary compared to what you're dealing with. So hopefully we can try and tie this together. I'm here because I don't understand the closure of the fitness center. What a great advantage for our community, the people that use it, that fitness center at the high school. It's awesome, right? It's $10 a month, which by the way is not enough money to charge. It's a great place. It promotes health, and it's being closed because of a lack of referendum passing. All right, if we don't pass a referendum, that's unfortunate. But why wouldn't we use this fitness center as a way or a tool to help us pass referendum, right? Look what we built for the community. I'm one of the community. I've been here 22 years. I love Big Lake. Most people don't even know it exists. Why wouldn't we use the fitness center to say, hey, look at what the taxpayer dollars that the district used, built, that the whole community can use? And furthermore, if we're having a hard time passing a referendum, let's embrace the community. Culture precedes performance. It's a rule of business. This is a business, like it or not it is. If that's what we're trying to accomplish, which is what we should be accomplishing, then referendum time, I read the paper, I watch Facebook, great, we need how many millions of dollars and this is what it's for. Honestly, I don't care. I see it as my tax dollars go up. I have kids in the district. I want them to be successful and I want you guys to have a great career. What I'd like to see is here's what we're gonna do with those referendum dollars that affects your community. Or where's the data? Where's the data that says, hey, there's 42% or whatever the number might be of Big Lake grads stay in Big Lake? Tie your referendum data together. Use that data and say, geez, for those of you that graduated in 1985 or 1995, or not dating myself, 1995 is a great year. Why not use that and say, here's what we're doing so that your children get to experience the same new gymnasium, the new fitness center, new classroom, new technology that you got to do. Make it relatable. That's my question. That's my concern. I would love to understand why the fitness center is being closed. If it's overhead, that's why we have badges, I thought. You don't have to staff that place. If it's not creating enough revenue, triple what you charge. You're still way less than everybody else in the community pays. And promote this thing. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Did we close? Oh, we did. Oh. consent agenda, the previous minutes from the February 25th regular board meeting, the March 18th work session, claims and accounts in the amount of $1,347,138.64, the credit card report, the personnel report, the fundraisers, and those policies, policies listed.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
Motion made by Shabilian. Second by Hancock. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to donations.
I'll make a motion to approve the donations.
Motion made by Shabilian. Second by Brown. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Approve the 26-27 budget reductions. Oh, oops, sorry. Angie, finance.
All right, good evening, school board members. Should I put that down? There we go. All right, so we'll start out as usual, the monthly financial report. We'll talk about enrollment, so we'll go on to the next slide. And actually, from February to March, we're up 2 ADMs, or average daily membership. And but when checking the data as of, well, this is as of the data that prepared this PowerPoint, we had increased by 18 students from like March 1st to March 17th. But actually, I checked as of today, actually this afternoon, and so we lost some of those 18 students, and so now we only have like a 12 student. But that's still good. That's still good that we are up 12 students actually from March 1st. So. And then this is the normal graph that you see every month. And, oh, John, can I have you go back? Sorry. I just want to point out, and I know it's probably hard for all of you to see, but they're that line, we're just a little bit above our enrollment budget. And that's a good thing. That means that we're gaining students. And again, a lot of them are in Big Lake Online. So that's really been helping the district, as you school board members know. Thank you. And we just had a couple budget revisions this month. We had to account for some grants and donations. And so the revenues and expenditures agree just because we had to establish budgets for them. So the budget managers were able to spend those funds. So just a couple of them, revenues and expenditures, it both increased $40,327. And this is the same budget report that you see every month. And actually, before I have you approve the budget revisions in the financial report, John, I'm going to have you go to that document. I think it's the last one. Nope. Or, yes. Sorry, yes. If you can enlarge that, thank you. So I was asked to actually update our unassigned fund balance projections. And so can you just scroll down just a little bit, John? Thank you. So the first column in the middle there, that is our current 25-26 budget. And I just want to point out that there's a lot of estimates because we're very early on. Enrollment is probably one of our biggest estimates. And but just using those estimates in 26, 27, so the next school year, and then 27, 28, and I'm going to have you scroll down a little bit more, John. So the important information for you all to see is that at the end of 26, 27, our fund balance, the projected ending unassigned fund balance, as I always tell the school board, that's our fund balance available for operations. After we account for the budget reductions that will more than likely be approved this evening, we end up with an ending balance at the end of 27 of 13.56%, which is just a little bit above our fund balance policy of 9 to 12%. But then when you extrapolate everything then forward into 27, 28, we're down to just a little over 9%, 9.47%. So we'd be at probably about the minimum or lowest that we would want it to see. The lower end of the range of our fund balance policy. So I wanted to, and again, I'll just have you scroll down. just, these are very, very preliminary estimates. I just want to emphasize that. So, actually, and if you want to go back to the PowerPoint, thank you, John. That's all I have for the school board tonight, unless you have any questions for me. But I would need you to approve those couple budget revisions and then approve the financial report. Questions?
Any questions for Angie? Motion made by Hancock,
Second.
second by Nelson. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Approve the 26-27 budget reductions.
Madam Chair, member of the board, thank you. Last week, we actually had an opportunity to have a work session around this topic. But before we get into the details of that, I want to remind everybody, because this is quite possibly one of the most challenging and difficult decisions this board has had to face since I've been here, for sure, and maybe sometime. So I just want to acknowledge that. But I do want to remind everybody that over the past 2 years, we've made efforts to pass an operating levy and a bond referendum. And unfortunately, our community weighed in and did not approve those operating levies. And in all of those presentations, the many presentations I gave around the district, including back to school, including all the different associations and all of those places, we had a slide that said, what happens if both questions fail? And tonight, that is coming to fruition. And this has to do with the operating levy not passing. And unfortunately, we're going to be faced with some reductions, and that is what the board has committed to and is what's before you this evening. So I do want to remind people that this process started actually right after the operating levy was voted down. We knew we were going to be faced with some of these reductions. And I heard a bit of a rumor out there that I just want to clear up right now. This in no way, shape, or form is anything to do with negotiations or those types of things. This has to do with us not passing the operating levy. This was set into motion when it was voted down. So I just want to be clear on that so everybody understands that perspective. That said, back in January, it was decided that we had a budget reduction target of approximately $1.5 million. And to achieve that, we reported to the board that we had essentially 6 different approaches on how we we're going to achieve that. First of all, we were going to optimize staffing levels with our board-approved class size ranges, and we reviewed those in January and approved those class size ranges. We also were going to evaluate special ed caseloads for resource efficiencies, and as well as strategic application of one-time categorical funding to help offset some of this budgetary shortfall, as well as utilization of restricted fund balances in compliance with statutory requirements, as well as taking a look at our transportations to see if there is any way we can maximize that efficiency, as well as reviewing our supply budgets for cost-saving measures in there. Like I said, we've been in discussion with these over the past few months. Administration was given the task based on student enrollment and staffing percentages. And what we have before you this evening is the result of that work, and this was the list that was reviewed last week with the school board. This list includes approximately 11.5 teacher FTEs, as well as some restructuring, as well as some reduction in hours of some employees, as well as some decreasing in the transportation and the decrease in the supply budgets by 5%. I also want to point out on the bottom half of the portion is we're always searching for ways to generate additional revenue, whether it be through grants or shifting of other programs and things like that. And the bottom portion actually represents that work that was done as well. And in total, what's being proposed for recommendation for reductions this evening, it is $1,603,524 for the next budget school year. And as I mentioned at the work session last week, This is being proposed as a whole, so that's the work that's been done, and that's what's being put forward for the board to consider for approval this evening.
Any questions?
Can you scroll that back to the top, please?
Do you have a motion? Okay, motion made by Brown.
Second.
Second by Nelson. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to resolution of non-renewal of teaching contracts.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is an annual resolution that we provide before the board. And this is a combination of non-tenured people as well as those that are teaching outside of their license. As a matter of fact, most of the people on the list are teaching outside of their license, and we have to non-renew them. So what we like to do is get those before you as soon as possible, so these positions can be posted, and we can find licensed people to replace these positions that are available. So I would recommend approval.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Motion made by Sixberry. Second by Hancock. Since this is a resolution, it'll be a roll call vote. Any other questions before the vote? Okay, starting with Brown. Hancock.
Aye.
Sixberry.
Aye.
Reesner, aye. Shabilian.
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
The resolution passes. Approve Right Tech LTFM plan.
Yeah, if you can enlarge that, John. Sorry. Thank you. So this is the annual LTFM plan. We do this every year that because Wright Technical Center does not have the statutory authority to levy for LTFM or long-term facilities maintenance, member school districts do it on their behalf. And so, as you know, or as the school board members know, the district will come back with our LTFM plan. TJ and I will present sometime in June. But what Wright Tech does is they send this information over. You can see Big Lake is that second line there. And our share is total that $30,905 as well as the $7,598, so it's $38,504. This is an increase from last year of $1,748. And I know this by Wright Technical Center being able to access these funds, they actually save on operating costs. So we have a funding source to take care of like their deferred maintenance needs. I'm looking at Amber just because I know you're on the Wright Tech board. So if you have anything else to say, I mean, go ahead. But I do recommend approval of this, and this is also a resolution, but that Big Lake would levy the $38,504.16 on the behalf of Wright Technical Center, and then we in turn, we collect the money through the levy process, and then we in turn then cut a check to Wright Technical Center. So did you want to add anything, Amber?
I was just gonna say that this is money that's been put to good use. We have a huge investment in Wright Tech, and it allows for programming to our students that they may not otherwise have. And with that being said, if you're investing in anything, if the building's falling down around them, it doesn't work. And we want our students in safe and in a healthy environment. And so we are a small portion of what goes into it because it is split between all the districts that attend Wright Tech. And so the money is well used, keeping that building up to date. That's what the LTFM funds are for. And it's very much needed.
And I forgot to mention that one of the reasons why our allocation went up is because it's based on, it's split amongst the students that all the member districts have at Wright Tech. So, and actually our shares like increased a little bit because we have more students. So that's also one of the reasons for the increase.
I will make a motion to approve the Wright Tech LTFM plan.
I'll second.
Second by Shabilian. Any other discussion? Since it's a resolution, we'll do a roll call vote. Brown? Hancock.
Aye.
Sixberry.
Aye.
Reesner, aye. Shabilian.
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
The resolution passes. Okay, approve the 26-27 school year calendar.
Yes, Madam Chair, and members of the board, I know I sent this out to you as an example a while back. I did consult with Blem Leadership as required by our MOU that we have with them. And the membership had preferred a longer winter break. And I'll get to that in just a second. But this calendar is very similar to this year's calendar, just rolled forward. And the fact that Labor Day is actually so late this year, this is a pre-Labor Day start. As you recall, legislation allowed us for the next couple years because of the late Labor Day to start prior to Labor Day. This calendar reflects that, as well as, like I said, it reflects the longer winter break, the full 2 weeks during the winter season, as well as periodic professional development days, because we still have the literacy requirements in place for our staff. So it suited us well this year, and we're hoping to continue that, and I would recommend its approval.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion made by Shabilian, second by Sixberry. Any other discussion?
Just real quick clarification, something I had brought up before is with us starting school before Labor Day, if there should be any students that would be impacted due to 4-H obligations or other obligations at State Fair, our administration will make special considerations for that, correct?
Absolutely.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. First reading of the policies.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, Policy Committee is at it again. So we are reviewing our policies, trying to get ourselves back into that every 3-year review. The next 2 items is the first reading and then the second reading. And obviously in the consent agenda, you also approved some 1-read policies. So please feel free to review those, and we'll have them on the board for final approval, a good chunk of those in the near future.
Okay. Any questions for him on first or second reads? Okay, on to school board committee representative updates. Finance committee.
So Finance Committee met, we worked with Angie, Superintendent Trubelock, to decide kind of where the cuts, I guess to discuss the cuts that were made and presented to you guys tonight. And so I just want to take a moment, if that's okay, to say that I've been on the school board for 15 years almost now, and I will honestly, truly say this was probably my most challenging year. And I know that sitting in the audience tonight, or if you're hearing this meeting, it might sound like we went through everything very quickly. But there is a lot of time outside of this meeting that we discuss, consider, research before we make these decisions at the board table. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and I just want everybody in this room to know how very invested that we truly are in the school district and the decisions that we're making, and they are not made lightly. I mean, we have to very much consider the health of the district, not just this year, but in future years. And as you can see, that fund balance is gonna get tight. And Big Lake has been able to triumph the storm for a few years while other schools around us had to make cuts. And I thank our lucky stars for that, because we are luckier than some, truly, to be at this point and not having to have made cuts prior years. But this was not an easy decision. It was very hard. There was a lot of discussion around it. And, cutting, especially when you have to let staff go, they're your friends, they're your families, they're our friends, it's extremely hard. And I will tell you that I myself have had very many calls, and this was not an easy decision. So I appreciate, and I want to thank you all for showing up and supporting each other. I think that's huge, and it's really important. And I just wanted to take a moment to thank you. And we're all in it together, and we're all doing our best. While we might not be on the same side of the table, I just truly hope you know that. Andrew, do you have anything to add to the finance? Okay.
Policy committee.
Yes, Madam Chair, we reviewed the policies that are on the agenda tonight and continue to work through that process. So yeah, that's that. And then legislatively, I spent a couple days down at the Capitol representing Big Lake Schools this past month. Kind of stressed the importance of funding, especially looking at the anticipated cost to special education, which greatly impacts Big Lake Schools. Discussed equalization with schools advocating for fair funding. There's a funding mechanism proposal that they're developing in conjunction with MREA. So kind of having discussions with the legislators, putting that into their ear so that next year in a funding year, hopefully we can hit the ground running with some support and some knowledge base of what we're talking about. Again, with that funding component, the special education is a large part of it, asking them to watch out for that as they make their decisions. I also shared with them if they couldn't provide more money or more flexibility, if it would be appreciated if they could just not mess with us, if they could just leave us alone. And they seemed receptive to that. While we're trying to pursue the groundwork for funding next year to gain some equalization dollars, there is also a program that has gotten a lot of publicity for educator group insurance pool. They're pushing hard down at the Capitol. They've had committee meetings, lots of meetings, and an pretty aggressive ad campaign. The concern with this particular bill that I shared with the legislators on the behalf of the school is that right now it does provide a hold harmless in language with dollar amounts X'd out, and those are for only 2 years. So running the numbers, it was over $1 million extra that we would be having to pay if that goes into place as is. The hold harmless, hold harmlesses are dangerous in general, but especially when they're only written for 2 years, that has serious impacts for us in the future. So I asked them to please be mindful when they're considering that proposal about the long-term funding implications and remembering that has real impact for districts. One thing that was talked about a lot at MSBA's day at the Capitol is there is a bill, HF 3900 and SF 3593. This is a beautiful bill in that it has absolutely no taxpayer impact. So this is a constitutional amendment that would modernize the Permanent School Trust Fund to allow the state to distribute the annual growth from that trust fund to schools. So right now, the way it's written in the Constitution, we're only able to get about 2% of those funds every year. And by restructuring the language, it would increase it to 4.5 to 5% of that annual growth. That is split equitably amongst the schools. There is not a mandate tied to it. It doesn't have to be used for a certain thing. That goes just to us.
I think it's $60 per pupil, if I remember correctly. I think I heard
Currently?
that.
I don't-
Well, no, I think that's
What
what's
they're
being
hoping.
proposed.
Yeah, I couldn't, I didn't have my notes in front of me
Yeah.
when I was like scribbling down my thoughts, so I
Yep.
appreciate you
Yep,
adding that.
yep,
But yes,
mhm.
it was a noticeable, it would be a noticeable improvement. So if this has strong bipartisan support. So if it passes, it doesn't actually need the governor's signature. What it needs is a vote on the election ballot in November. And so if it does pass the House and Senate, we will need to consider an ad campaign or a publicity campaign, I should say, for our communities to stress the importance of this and that it does not have a tax impact and yet it would have direct impact to our school. So I just want to put that in everybody's ears to be aware of that. The governor presented his supplemental budget. Unfortunately, he is proposing they increase the special education reduction target. Previously, the Blue Ribbon Commission had been tasked with $250 million in cuts, and he has asked them to now cut $300 million. That is not set in stone. The $250 million is set in stone. The $300 million has not been passed yet, but that is a very real cut that we are looking at in the future. The $250, again, it's already legislatively written, so.
Can I just interject really quick
Please.
there too? And I was going to mention this too during my report that if the commissioner cannot find the savings, the MDE commissioner must find the commensurate savings by reducing cross-subsidy aid. And I don't know if the board remembers or not, but we did receive additional funds with the cross-subsidy aid from a couple years ago. The recommendations also stipulate that the Blue Ribbon Commission savings target must be made by eliminating cost, not shifting cost out of special education to other K-12 funding streams. So it's pretty explicit about what was mentioned there. So that is definitely one we'll be keeping an eye on. Just so everybody knows that cross-subsidy, we have a high cross-subsidy. I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head. I just know that it's high. In addition to that, too, our intervention programs are funded mostly through ADSIS, which also is funded through special education funding. So this would be a big challenge for our district to be able to provide those intervention programs. So that's a big deal. That's a big deal that we are watching closely.
Yes, thank you. There is movement behind a policy or a bill to repeal the storm shelter requirement. So that's advanced, but it is starting to get some pushback from the industry, but that would be one that would also benefit the school if we are able to pass a bond in the future. The policy deadline is on Friday. They released their policy omnibus. It's thankfully not too intrusive. I'm still kind of reviewing it, but thinking it through, but it's pretty good. So that's what's going down at the Capitol.
Buildings and grounds did not meet since last time. Was there any other committees that people went to? Chelsea?
Yep, so Community Ed was yesterday. We had Sam, I'm trying
Gort.
to her last name.
Gort.
Gort, thank you. Came in and gave a great presentation. This January, they actually shifted curriculums. They moved from CPA to creative. So things are going well there, but it's basically meeting more of their needs at the preschool level. Screening was interesting, actually, talking about some of the COVID babies and kind of like the outcomes, like 20 kids might come in for screening at a time on average, and they're going from about 5 to 7, needing more special education attention and like more screening there, down to like 1 to 2 only. So that was interesting, kind of a takeaway there. And then the preschool teachers are also working on their letters training right now. And then the like software platform that we're all used to seeing for community ed and registration, that is now changed to a new system called like AROX or something.
AROX, yep.
Thank you, AROX. Yep. Spudfest was there. Let's see, there's an Easter egg hunt going on April 4th at 10:30 at the Lakeside Park, which was really cool getting put on. Beyond the Yellow Ribbon was there as well, and hearing some take on that. I think that was it.
That's good.
For the Right Tech meeting, it was a fairly quick meeting, but it was based on budget revisions. We did have to make some adjustments with cuts there as well. So they're cutting the auto skills class. There has, much like Big Lake, they did an audit of their class enrollment, and that is one class or one area that was really suffering. So we had to make the decision to cut that. And in that, they'll adjust like 2 employees. So that was the main focus of our meeting at Right Tech.
Any other meetings? On to Alexis.
Hi, so I'm actually gonna talk about like February for just a second. I wanna talk about the Together powwow. Big Lake Schools American Indian Education Department teamed up with 5 other area districts to host the second annual Together powwow. And attendance doubled, and it was considered a great success. And now on to March. The Sherburne County Distracted Driving Awareness Video Contest was held this month. 3 student groups placed in the top 6. We had student groups place 1st, 5th, and 6th this year. And these videos are mainly to highlight how distracted driving can be dangerous in any situation. They can represent drinking and driving, texting while driving, general distractions while driving. I watched the videos and they were like really well put together. I know most students spent a while and put a lot of effort into the scripts. Next, we have girls flag football practice just started this week. They're all really excited for the 6:30 a.m. practices. And they're excited for the season to start up again. And then 40 choir students had the opportunity to attend the Chanhassen Dinner Theater production of Guys and Dolls. Students thoroughly enjoyed seeing this performance and professional vocalists live. show up. Musical practices are also underway, The Sound of Music. The performances will be in April, so be there or be square. But they've been working hard on building sets, music tracks, blocking, and so much more. So they're excited for their performances coming up in April. And then the Big Lake Community Fair was held at Big Lake High School. Earlier this month, we had Big Lake Jazz perform. Their students were able to help set up and tear down. YUIS students, NHS students, student council members were able to attend, help volunteer, work booths, and things like that. And I actually was able to meet a lot of adults that have lived in Big Lake for a really long time and have never attended before. They were like, this is my first time and it's so cool. And I'm like, yeah, you got to show up to the community. I always like to say that our school is like our community center for Big Lake. I feel like everything happens here. So that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Alexis. And you get to follow that.
I always get to follow that, so good job, Alexis. Thank you for that. So I've got a few things for you, Madam Chair, members of the board. First of all, I want to thank you for the flexibility tonight in adjusting the start time. I appreciate that. All went well with my spouse, so thank you again. Community fair, I was going to mention that as well. We had upwards around 700 people that attended this year. It was a little bit lower, but if you recall, literally at the end of the time for the community fair was the start of the snowstorm warning. So I think that maybe kept some people. I know it definitely kept some vendors out from the that group. But that's okay. We still had a really good time. And again, students were all over the place. We had our booth, and it was well received. I know we mentioned some of the information about the legislative update. I also want to mention just two other things, just kind of FYI for your information. Currently, the law requires a statement on the bottom of the ballot that states this will impact or have a tax increase. That is being discussed as being removed. I know that Ellers, our financial people, were down testifying. Shelby, I've known her from a previous district, was down testifying to see that that's not always the case. So I know that's being discussed, as well as I caught wind today too, that they are considering requiring student school board reps. So we are way ahead of the game on that. So.
Yeah, I'm actually on the committee. I'm not from the Minnesota Youth Council, so I'm actually like writing a testimony for that.
That's awesome. Are you gonna testify down there?
I might just write it up and like have someone read it for me on my behalf.
Yep.
Because most of the meetings are during the school day.
Yeah. That's hard. That's hard. I know.
So, but we have on the Minnesota Youth Council, we're the only like legislatively mandated student group across the U.S. And so we actually have a designated committee that works to keep students involved in local government and in our school community. So yeah.
Awesome. Impressive. I was just gonna say, so fantastic stuff. So last but absolutely not least, my favorite is from around the district. I just wanna, I think choir, Bree and Hannah, I just wanna give a big round of applause again for the performance tonight. So good job. As well as I want to give a quick shout out here to Jake Klingelhutz, who has, with the approval of the personnel during the consent agenda, is the new assistant principal at the high school. So round of applause for Jake, welcome. And I do have a list of, and I will send out this to you as well at the end of the week, but I do have a list of some dates just for your awareness. We do have another negotiations with BLEM scheduled for April 1st at 4 p.m. So,
I have a question about that.
yeah.
Who is allowed to attend those?
Those are open.
Those are open.
Mhm.
Public as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Yep. And then April 2nd through the 6th, there is no school. So just thought I would let everybody know that. No policy committee meeting this month. There was just too many conflicts, so you're welcome. And activities advisory, April 16th, 7:30. I got you on there. April 20th, we have our scheduled BLEM mediation for Ashley and Derek, as well as April 22nd, District Curriculum Advisory Committee at 5. And then our regular school board meeting at 6. That's our regular time. April 24th, SAF. That was moved a week later. Yeah, they had. And then Alexis already stole my thunder on this, but High School Musical is the weekend of the 24th through the 26th. So be there or be there. It is. We've got that, and then our special ed co-op governing board is at 5 o'clock on the 30th. And then the end of year celebration is on May 18th, just to save the date. I don't have all the details of that just yet, but May 18th. So that is all I have, and that concludes my report, unless, of course, there are questions, which I would entertain at this time.
Any questions? Okay. We will be going into a closed session after this. Board will have a closed meeting as permitted by Minnesota statute, section 13D.03, to discuss Big Lake Schools' labor negotiation strategy related to negotiations with Big Lake Education Minnesota. I need a motion to enter a closed meeting, follow the adjournment of the regular meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Shbillion, second by Sixberry. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. The closed meeting will commence in 5 minutes at 8 o'clock, 8:01 in the Student Middle Center. The meeting's adjourned.